Hello guys, welcome to the best principles of teaching science. And I would like to start by saying that every human being wants to see the connection between what is taught and how applicable it is in real life situations. And all those connections will always put the mind in a state of excitement and looking forward to see how all skills and knowledge acquired is used in real life situations. So today, all those ones who are geared towards the science field, I would like to share the basic fundamental skills, what I normally call as process skills. The first thing that we need to understand is that process skills are fundamental abilities which are very useful both in science and engineering, and they normally assist students to investigate, to understand, and draw meaningful conclusions from any observations they make and the data that they collect. These are skills which will help students to make sense of the world around them, and at the same time, it will help students to develop reliable knowledge. These skills come in a bundle, a number of them, but I'll just highlight the best ones. So skill number one is observation skills, very, very important. Skill number two is categorization. Skill number three is comparisons. Skill number four, making generalizations. Skill number five, making inferences. And skill number six, conclusions. So I'll just give brief explanations of what each of these skills entail. And then from there, we will see on how we can try as much as possible as educators, as those ones who guide students, especially in the field of science, ensure that these skills are intentionally developed in our young minds so that we can have a future world that is dependable. So when we talk about skill number one, that's observations, we are talking about using our senses to collect data, using specialized instruments to gather information, and from there we can systematically design experiments, and by use of qualitative and quantitative means develop some patterns, some relationships which can be used in analyzing data. Skill number two, categorizing. This is whereby we try as much as possible to group data that we have collected, events, evidence that has been collected based on similarities in terms of their characteristics or properties. And this one will always assist the scientists to develop and classify complex information, which will facilitate when it comes to the analysis of whatever has been provided. I also talk about comparisons. When you talk about comparisons, you are just trying to check on the similarities and differences that exist between objects, between the data that you have collected, between results that you have obtained. And by doing comparisons, we will be able to make some systematic patterns. We will be able to check on trends and relationships that do exist. And by doing that, we will be able to gain a deeper understanding of whatever that has been observed. And then from there, we move to the next skill, that is generalizing. This is whereby we make broader statements based on specific events, based on the data that we have collected, based on the trends, and then you come up with something. Remember, when you are generalizing, it will now lead to or allow you to come up with some formulations in terms of the hypothesis, in terms of the laws, in terms of theories. And then from there, once you've been able to make your generalizations, you move to the next skill, that's inferencing. Inferencing will also involve making some logical conclusions or explanations which are based on the phenomenon that you have observed. And they go sometimes beyond the immediate observations. You can infer, you can deduce, you can come up with something based on what you have observed and beyond that. And finally is making conclusions. And when we are talking about making conclusions, this one will always involve trying to synthesize and summarizing observations, the data that you have garnered, the inferences that you've made, to reach out a reasoned resolution. Scientists and engineers in the house, they can agree with me that drawing conclusion based on available evidence and the application of that specific knowledge that you have gained will provide the final assessment to whatever that interpretations that we are making. One thing that I want us to understand is that the process of skills is always an intertwined thing, and one skill will always lead to the other. So it's a combination of all these that will assist us. The process is always iterative, it is always dynamic, and we try as much as possible to ensure that every student has gained these skills. So I'll advise that by owning these skills, students will have that ability to explore, analyze, understand all the natural phenomenon around them, and then they will be able to do a design process that can lead to optimized results in science. Thank you.